Welcome to episode 2 of the Mad Men Pod. I guess this makes us regular programming now. But whether you're a marketing maverick or a friend who's supporting our dreams of getting a free blue check mark from Mark Zuckerberg, we are here to talk about branding and marketing and campaigns. So hope you guys are excited. Guys, we definitely learned a lot from the first episode, wouldn't you guys say?
For sure, man. I've gotten to get some feedback, some bad feedback. Some people come to just
Yeah, we learned that Samir has an itchy chin. We learned that Salim looks too cool for school. And we learned that my bald head was super shiny, hence the hat today. So, Salim, you got a new backdrop.
What does the hat stand for?
Are you not a marketer? Come on, man. Return on ad spend.
When we spend zero on ad, though, there's always a return, right? That's where we are.
Oh, yeah, there you go. So Mondays for me, we're recording on a Monday. Mondays is marketing day for me. So I wore this to my marketing meeting today to really drive the point home that I'm not very happy with our ROAS lately. So they know that's what that means when I'm wearing this hat. Salim, you have a new backdrop today. What's going on?
Hey, yeah, I'm live from London, UK, man. I got to tell you, I just came in from London, from the US, and we talk about family. We talk about kids all the time, but dude, I went to the airport. They saw me come in with my kids, and they're like, "Oh, you got family. Go to that family line." Dude, I was in and out of that airport like 2 minutes coming in from international. Like, come on, dude. Like, I want to go back. I'm on global entry. It still won't take me at the same time.
They see you walking up with kids, and right away, front of the line.
Yep.
It's US has got to learn a little bit about that. So, we do have a few duds and studs to talk about this week. We are going to talk about, we're going to do an ad champagne on Nikon, the anti-AI campaign they did. And then we're going to give our brands to watch. So we're really excited about that. This is going to be a really good episode. Hope everyone's excited. Dare I say, our best one yet. Let's get started.
Men go mad.
Who's gone mad?
Mad men.
You're mad. The man's mad.
Mad men. I'm mad.
All right. This segment was well received by our pioneer listeners. Unfortunately, that does not include my wife. She still hasn't followed the pod. But this is the segment where we debate campaigns and strategies to lure customers in. So this does include some new business channels that people are trying to do as well. It's a perfect segue to our first round. So let's talk about this. I hope you guys are excited. As a precursor to their MMA fight, Mark Zuckerberg has launched Threads, competing with Twitter. So real quick numbers, they boasted 70 million users in the first 36 hours. Nuts. This is on the heels of approaching their all-time high in the for their stock's all-time high. And it seems like everyone's forgotten about the Metaverse project, which is probably a good thing. So users have flocked to this new doom scrolling app, and we got to talk about it. Is Threads going to be a dud or a stud? Samir, we got to hear from you first on this one.
Yeah, look, man, I think the hype is real. Threads broke the internet last week. There's no other way to explain it. Celebrities, notable influencers signing on, kind of advertising their first thread. But I'm going to be honest with you, this is just a new fancy toy. It happens a lot in tech products. Threads it's currently just a Twitter dupe. And that's not enough for people to really abandon Twitter. Even for content creators, it's giving them one more social media app to manage that's probably pushing through the same content that's on to Twitter. Once again, people are just underestimating Elon. I don't know how many times we have to go through this every single time he places a bet. Let's not forget, Elon bought Twitter to accelerate his vision for X, which is that super app, that everything app. It's that bringing that WeChat experience into the West. And if you don't know, WeChat is an all-encompassing service, includes messaging, video calling, video chat, video games, photo share, ride share, food delivery, everything in one app. Twitter's long game is to become a super app, and Threads is just today's Twitter. But Elon's massive bet is going to be on Twitter for tomorrow, and that's going to look much different than what Twitter is today. And while Zuckerberg and Meta blew that first punch, this is going to be a war. Elon's track record proves that he's the one to bet on, and we don't need more apps or copies of apps. We need fewer super apps. And time will tell if Threads can continue that hype, the usage and engagement they're seeing over the last week. But you can just feel it that there's the next phase of Twitter right around the corner, and Elon is not going to hold back.
Wow. Interesting take. Salim, what do you think?
Does this remind anybody of like Facebook like 5 years ago with the wall, and you just would post things on the wall? Like, isn't this the same thing all over again?
Kind of looks like that, yeah.
I'm an Elon Musk fanboy, but look, you got to give Zuckerberg his thing. 100 million users in 5 days. ChatGPT was 1 million in a week. I mean, they're growing dramatically. Look, there's a couple things he's addressing, right? What Meta had, or Facebook challenge is they had a discovery problem. TikTok was easy to discover creators. Twitter was easy to discover creators. I think Meta now with Threads has this ability to discover the creators, right? So they're solving a creator recognition problem, and I think the Threads is going to help with that. Look, and they've done this before, and they've kicked their butts, right? Look at Snapchat. Snapchat came out with their thing. Then Instagram did their whole, stories, and it's the most used story app online, right? And they've done this multiple times over. I think they've got an audience that's stuck to them, right? They've got to make it easy to, just move from Facebook to Instagram to Twitter now to Threads now. I think they've got this. Look, they've got some privacy issues they're going to work through. They're giving a whole lot of data away. I get that. But I mean, you got to give them props for being able to absorb this many people real fast and get them on board, and compete with Twitter. Twitter might become the next super app. That's not going to put any shame to Meta at all. So I say it's a stud move. Good job, Mark.
I think both takes are really good. My social media manager hates me this week because I was like, what are we today in the marketing meeting? I was like, so we're going to be posting on Threads, and she's rolled her eyes. But look, I think it's from a standpoint of dud, I think it's a little petty of a fight from Mark Zuckerberg here. It seems silly to do an exact copy of Twitter. But let's talk about it from a business standpoint, because Twitter, what we've learned as marketers, is not the best place for ad conversions. Now, and I'm talking about mainly, like, from my perspective, CPG products, other D2C brands. It's really hard to get good conversions on Twitter. We quit a long time ago. But on the flip side, B2B ads still do well. And maybe there's a lot of bored entrepreneurs or executives out there scrolling on Twitter, but those seem to do well. And so that could be a good opportunity for Meta to capitalize on getting some of those types of, those types of ad conversions. So that would be good. But my dilemma is that you do need an Instagram login to create, to be active on Threads. And it's a completely different user. I think if you don't have, right now it's a gold rush to get exposure. And so a lot of people are rushing over to Threads to really get their name out there. I don't know if it's called stitching or threading or whatever they're calling it, but it's something silly, but they're sending these threads out for the idea of maybe I'm going to get discovered, maybe I'm going to be famous, but really Instagram and Twitter are completely different users. I think slowly we're going to see the same thing that happened with Clubhouse, and where there's going to be this huge gold rush to see what it's all about, what people are doing on there and stuff. And slowly people are going to be like, this is really not for me. And they're going to go back to Instagram and TikTok, all the visuals. Twitter is a very particular user base, and they will continue to hold their own, I think. But I think all in all, this is from a business standpoint, I think this will give that incremental ad revenue increase to Meta that they need. There are a lot of businesses that don't want to advertise with Elon anymore for whatever reason, but Mark, he could have flipped this. He could have made this platform overnight. And, if that makes him a few billion a year, that's actually a good return in terms of a business. So that's my take on that. Any other thoughts, guys?
Hey, I think you make an interesting case about the business side of things and where advertisers might flock their money towards something like Threads. I can say the same about audiences are going to stay with Twitter because of free speech. Like Zuck and Meta are way too into content moderating for a lot of people's interest. So I can see a large number of those audiences that you say are are very different type of consumer going to stay on Twitter because they don't want to be moderated, that they don't want to be controlled, and they probably don't want to be advertised to. And I just feel like it's just not going to get there.
I think Meta shareholders are probably loving this though, because the metaverse project was just not working. I still think that was a total dud, and they're probably like, okay, more ad revenue. This is good. This is core business for Meta. Good job, Mark. This is what we want you to do. So in that sense, that's going to probably raise their valuation some more. In many senses, talking about valuations, I think Twitter is definitely getting slaughtered when it comes to valuation now. And that's the unfortunate thing. But I'm an Elon fan as well. I got the Tesla thing behind me. But there's, there's something, I agree with Samir in the sense that what are we doing? Like as a society, we should be doing something bigger with these platforms. So let's move right along. I had a pretty crazy day. The FDA raided my offices. They took all the prime energy off my desk. So we got to talk about these celebrity beverage brands. So Jake Paul, KSI are probably going to get in trouble or get a slap on their wrist for this energy drink thing. But really, we're not talking about that yet. We are going to talk about all these celebrities are flocking to developing these beverage brands. Ryan Reynolds has had Aviation Gin. Kendall Jenner and The Rock created 818 and Terramana respectively after George Clooney's great success. And last week, Blake Lively launched a line of sparkling tequila and bourbon seltzers called Betty Booze. Creative alliteration, I know. And then we have Joe Jonas, second most popular Jonas brother, launch Oza. Interesting name, but it's canned mimosas and sangrias. And mimosa, I thought you don't do orange juice in aluminum. But I guess here we are. So we're doing it. But what's happening here? I mean, the country is getting more sober now. We're moving more towards microdosing on psychedelics. Are these celebrity beverage brands here to stay? Are they a stud or are they becoming duds? Salim, let's hear from you first on this one.
I don't know where you are. I see alcohol consumption going way up. Like everywhere I go, people are drinking. I guess they're just giving more variety up to drinks. I don't know, man, dude. And last I checked, Blake Lively doesn't even drink. Like, how is this? Like, how is she endorsing drinks? But that's what it is, right? I think this is just a different variation of influencer marketing. It's you put their name on something, you can go sell it. They follow the brand, they follow the celebrities. I think this is straight up influencer marketing. It's some of it's good. I've tried some of these and they've been good. Kevin Hart's got one. I've tried Kevin Hart's as well. I've tried Aviation Gin. It's good. But I think it's influencer marketing. It's what it is. Then it's going to continue to grow, as more people get endorsements from these different beverage companies to help, hey, let's go build something together, and make a new product that can go on the shelf, right? That can go on a shelf that's not timely to their existence on movies or shows or whatever it may be. So, I think it's going to stick around now. Is it going to make money? For sure. Look, it's like I said, it's influencer marketing. So I think it's a stud of a campaign. I think you got to go and find the next celebrity and say, hey, let's go make a drink, and it'll grow that value. It'll grow the valuation of that beverage, and either it be Prime or it'll either be I think Alpha Lead's got 3D, and there's a couple others out there continuously come on the market, and there's always a niche to follow them. Even it's the same thing as Mr. Beast's chocolate. Like, how good is a chocolate? Chocolate's good, but come on, Mr. Beast sells the shit out of that chocolate for double the price because it's Mr. Beast's chocolate, not because it's chocolate that's really good.
Fair. Samir, you got a ton of experience in this industry. You got to tell us what you think.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I think that the strategic move to start a beverage brand is a solid one, right? The investment behind it, it's something, it's a category that does not have a lot of product differentiation, right? Like, you're really not going to see that much of a quality difference in the product. Where you're going to see a difference is the badge value that comes with that brand, right? It's the position in the market. It's the culture behind it. Celebrities have the power to shift culture. So when you think about playing a game where the cards are in your favor, celebrities are going to win that, right? And just to give you some scale, I like to think about a comparison category of what we've seen in the past with beauty, right? It's another category that has seen a ton of celebrity investment. And you could argue that the celebrity ones are the more successful ones, right? We have Rihanna's Fenty, Priyanka Chopra's Anomaly, Kylie Jenner, Kylie Cosmetics, Selena Gomez's Rare Beauty. You know those brands, you know they're powerful brands in beauty. But for context, the global market size for beauty is about $500 billion. Alcohol beverage is 1.5 trillion. We're talking 3 times the size of beauty. So if you want a celebrity who wants to have some sort of a capital gain and want to invest their dollars into something that they can control, we're talking about them being able to drive that bottom line and top line growth. It's not playing a game of another bigger competitor. Like, they have so much ownership of what happens in the market because they're putting their name, their brand, their likeness out there. My biggest flaw that I see in all of this is the execution. I think we love talking about the celebrity brands that seem to win, but do we forget about the ones who have constantly failed? Like, how many celebrities have tried to come out with their own thing? Do you remember when Drake came out with his own Virginia Black whiskey that was rated one of the worst in the market? Mariah Carey came out with Angel Champagne, which was the most expensive bottle of champagne in the history of champagne, and it dud. Like, I think we get so caught up in the success stories of celebrities and we treat them as like moguls and just like superstars in all spaces that they play. But let's not forget all the failures that we've seen in the celebrity sponsorship and investment game. And they've done a really good job of hiding them. They do a good job of shifting to the next thing so that people don't get caught into their failures. But let's be real, it's all about the execution. And we know that execution is the way to win success in these types of categories. How you tie yourself to culture, one scandal away from breaking your entire brand. Like, there's just so much risk involved. I don't think it's a smart move. I feel like you're going to just hear more about successes, but man, for every one success, there's 10 failures behind that.
Yeah. And I think, I think the first that I can think of celebrity that did a good job was P. Diddy with Ciroc. At least, I remember that in college and everything. But I agree. I mean, I think when it comes to brands to stay, like Casamigos now, people are like, they don't really care about, but Clase Azul has always been a top tequila brand. And I think they've continued to keep that. They've held that throne for a while now as being a good tequila brand. So there are brands that do it well without any celebrity endorsement. I totally agree with you, Samir. There's definitely a lot of flops, and I would have totally forgotten about Drake's until you mentioned it. But my question now is like, what's going to be the next industry that just gets flooded with this influencer, like these brands that are pop up by the creators. I think the Feastables thing is a really good thing you brought up, Salim. That was like Mr. Beast is definitely trying to go after other products that his consumers or his viewers that apply to their age, right? These are kids that watch his videos and stuff. So he's not going to go do alcohol brands. It's definitely off brand for him, but doing snacks and candy, that's really cool. I'm just, cosmetics makes sense. Alcohol makes sense. I'm really interested to see where we go next from here.
Dude, is there a big cup behind you? Is that a new tournament cup behind you? What is that nonsense?
This is the Dallas Mavericks championship. I'm going to celebrate this forever until our next one.
It's not the new NBA in-tournament cup? Is that what is this nonsense?
No, but I am very excited about that.
What is this nonsense? Are we trying to look, dude, NBA is worst viewership of any sport right now, I think. It's a good, probably not the worst, but dude, it's pretty much up there, dude. And now they've got this very complicated, I got 2 videos. I got ESPN one, I got NBA one. I got like 5 videos explaining to me what this NBA tournament is. Somebody explained to me what this NBA tournament is and what's the purpose. Like, are they trying to compete with NCAA and say, hey, look, we got a tournament in the middle of the NBA season? I mean, what is going on in this world, guys? All
right. So I'm going to take this first. So this is a total stud move. I love this. I love the NBA in general. And I love, of course, the Mavericks, but in every February, I always look forward to All-Star Weekend, and I'm still that dude that watches every slam dunk contest. And I love the All-Star game. I love how they try to change it up every year. I loved it whenever they decided to not do the East versus West thing and go more of like a draft model. total awesome move by the NBA. I don't know why the ratings have fallen. I think that could be in part to the localization of the networks and stuff, and you having to have different subscriptions to watch things. What this tournament's going to do is create this this excitement. I hope so. I don't like that it's so stretched out, but I think it will create that excitement of some repercussions on losing certain regular season games. It should boost some of their viewership. I think it's a total stud move. They do need to keep it creative. And I think this will potentially change some of the formats in for baseball as well. They need something. I think soccer MLS may do something like this too, if this works out. So total stud move. I think it's always good to be creative and constantly changing to gain more viewers.
Look, I'm just going to say it is confusing as hell. Like the fact that we had to watch 5 different videos to understand how the hell this is supposed to work just doesn't seem like the right move. I'm going to compare it to a sport industry, a sport league that is double the size in revenue to NBA, and that's the NFL. It's simple. They are not adding more games, which I know this cup is not, this tournament's not either, but it's simple to understand. It's less games. It's fewer players to focus on, and it's still double the size of the NBA. There's got to be a reason why the NFL is so much more successful than the NBA. Are we overcomplicating what the NBA needs to be, right? I get Adam Silver's kind of passion to experiment and try new things, right? With what they did with the bubble, with the play-in tournament, and now this. Like, I'm all for experimenting. I think the NBA was kind of due for some sort of shift in format, give them some room to expand. I think I'm there. But is this in-season tournament the answer to that? I don't think so. I think it's just hella more confusing. The cup doesn't mean anything. I really don't think it ever will. I don't think players are going to feel like they're motivated to play for it. Now, I know like the new CBA agreement, they're trying to fight against load management. They're trying to only reward players and incentivize them if they're playing a certain number of games. Like they're fighting that edge, right? Like they're going against load management in that sense. But is this really going to be enough for players to get behind to really make any meaning out of it? I'm going to say no, not now, not in the near future. I think this is just version 1 of the many different things that they're going to try. But from what I understand, which is still barely understanding of what this in-season tournament is, I don't think it's the answer.
I just got a rebuttal on this. The thing that you have to notice is less is more in football. So they do want the maximum number of viewers per game. You can't really get that in basketball. I know Thursday night basketball is really good. TNT's done a great job with that. But in general, basketball is a volume game, just like baseball is. You have to have a lot of them to make up the same money. You can't go the opposite way and do less is more. It just won't work. But one thing to keep in mind, basketball players do get paid a hell of a lot more than football players. And so something's working in that sense. It is a player, it's player-centric league. I think what the next thing we're going to see is the NBA now creates subscriptions on players. So the NBA has definitely moved away from following teams and much more gone into following players. And we saw that we've been seeing that for years now, but I think people can now buy subscription. They should be able to buy subscriptions to watch Luka play any game. Anytime Luka's playing, you can watch, right? And I would totally pay for a subscription like that if it's a player I follow, which also may hurt the league in a different way. But I think for players, they are bringing the talent. More people will talk about LeBron James than Mike Trout any day of the week. More people will talk about Steph Curry than Dak Prescott. That's just a fact. So there's something good that the NBA has done, and it's brought more attention to the players, and that's a good thing too.
Anybody's gonna talk about Derek Prescott more than Derek Prescott, buddy. Sorry, ain't nobody talking about Prescott anymore.
That's true. That's a bad comparison.
I think the winner here is Las Vegas. I think Las Vegas is the biggest winner out of this tournament. They get to host the tournament. You got to go sell tickets. But then also the gambling that happens in this, right? The gambling portals and all that stuff that will happen between the tournament being offered off and who wins the tournament, what round they go to, the different calculations of all that's going to be the big winner in this. But look, you got to give the NBA props to try to figure something out, right? They're trying to figure it out. They got to promote the game somehow. It is lost viewership. I've lost viewership. Me and my wife, we used to be regular basketball watchers. We watch all the games, and lately it's just been uninteresting. It's become kind of the nuance of, hey, who's going where and what super team do we have today, and that's really thrown a lot of people like me off. And
that's because the Rockets suck, man. That's just because the Rockets suck.
That is 100%. I will agree with that. Maybe not next year. They got a good draft this year, and some good trades. But I think they need to do something different. I think the player idea is great. The subscription of players, I think that concept comes out really strong. And I think, look, we talked about Messi last week. Messi brings that. People want to watch. People want to go to watch MLS because of Messi. They're not watching. They're watching a little bit of Miami, but they're going to watch MLS because of Messi. I think when the players figure that out, and I think they are starting to figure that out, I think they're going to want more money for that. And can the NBA afford it? I don't know. That's a good question to ask. But I think it's a stud move. I think they got to do something. It'll at least raise it a little bit if it's 5% or 10%. Is it gonna be 10x? I don't think so.
Well, talking about doing different things, let's move along. So Amazon did years ago. They had this ambitious plan to create a new shopping season. And so here we are on the heels of Prime Day 2023, which is now a 2-day event. It was really unique season of shopping they decide to go with. Summertime is notorious for having slower shopping months, but Prime Day is expected to kill it this year. And this has created some copycats. Some other retailers have jumped on the bandwagon to get some market share. So we got to know, I got to know from you guys, do you guys think grabbing market share from Amazon Prime Day and trying to get on their marketing coattails a dud or a stud move? Salim, you want to go first?
Look, Prime Day is big. They do a great job marketing it. They've got a subscriber base already. My wife's upset that she's in London and she can't shop Prime Day. I mean, she could kind of, I guess, maybe, but I don't think it works the same way if she's in here in the UK, getting stuff shipped here. But look, they started off at 2015 at 1 billion. They did somewhere between 12.5 billion last year. They're forecasting to do 17.7 billion this year. That's a 45% growth year over year. I mean, these other guys that are trying to at least get that share. Target Circle is this week. I think it's Nordstrom. Nordstrom's got one. Macy's got a Black Friday deal that happened in the summer. I mean, I think Indochino saw one. I mean, like, I'm getting ads like crazy against these copycats. And look, they can try. They'll get a piece of it, but nobody's gonna look to Target unless they're on the Target app and saying, "Oh, hey, this is on sale this week." I don't think they've got the brand recognition that Prime Day has to say, "Hey, look, I'm going to go search for things on Prime Day." I don't know how many of you guys have shopped Prime Day. It's a good sale, but it's annoying as shit to go down that list and figure out what is on sale and what to buy. However, I'm going to do it. I'll still do it. Tens of millions of people are still going to do it. What was the last number I checked? The last number I checked was that more than half the U.S. has a Prime subscription already. So this is just an add-on bonus for them. So I think the Prime Day itself is a stud, but I think the idea of these copycats trying to steal that market share, that's a dud. They need to go focus on and do something of their own.
Mir, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm looking at it from a consumer lens, and this is great for consumers, right? Competition is good. And I think that's what's going to be the real big success story for these copycats is when you have found a seasonal period where consumers are opening their pockets to buy stuff. Go on at it, right? Like there's nothing that should be stopping you from competing against Amazon for those dollars. Why let Amazon completely absorb all that revenue and those sales when you're selling similar products, when you're talking about those big box retailers in your electronics and in your home and in your clothing? You have the product that can compete or even be the same product. Why can't you put your best foot forward? And I love the copycats take on either being very subtle or very aggressive against Amazon Prime, right? Some using the word Prime in some form, some expanding it to start the day before and extend to the day after, just so that you're not like kind of getting lost in the confusing Amazon Prime Day, which by the way is now 2 days. This just seems exactly like how what Black Friday started to become, right? Black Friday used to be reserved for the holiday shopping period. You need to buy a bunch of stuff that's supposed to be for the Christmas season. Now, Black Friday is sort of the beginning of the sales season that ends up stretching the entirety of December. And you see all sorts of retailers playing in their own unique ways and trying to be more differentiated in that season. I love seeing it now. I think we found as a society a period of time that consumers want to spend money. It's not for any gifting. It's not for any holiday. It's just to spend on themselves. And I feel like when the consumer wins and consumers have options to choose like this in competition, I think it's a success for the entire society, for all brands and for all retailers involved. So I love it. I love the war. I love the fighting. I love the subtle attacks against Amazon here and there. I think it just makes it a fun retail period for all of us to see.
Really interesting points, guys. I think the real winner in a lot of this are small businesses. We forget when we talk about Amazon doing this and Amazon doing that. Majority of Amazon is made up of small businesses selling their products. These are private businesses that are selling, and they are getting to discount, or they not only discount their products, but they are now getting access to all this traffic that Amazon is generating for them. This is a notoriously slow season for us, right? Like the J months are always the worst months for clothing brands, but we get this opportunity now, to really get our products in front of as many in just the surprise of a season. So I think total stud of a campaign. Consumer economies love this kind of stuff. We, I think it's good that it's creating some competition from other retailers too. I think that's totally okay. That's just going to happen. And it'd be really cool to see small retailers that aren't on Amazon also do Prime Day sales and whatnot. I saw Gymshark doing stuff. They're not a small retailer, but they're even doing stuff now for these 2 days. So people are shopping. Why not get some money while you can?
I rebuttal your comment about the small business. That I know you're probably on the marketplace and your business might be right, but it used to be where Amazon used to kind of declare, hey, this much of our revenue is coming from small businesses, or this much of Prime Day is coming from small businesses. When I was doing the research for Prime Day, it showed for a while, hey, this was small businesses revenue generation from Prime Day and stuff like that. But I sometimes wonder how much of that's really coming from these small businesses anymore. I think some of this has now become an Amazon business of its own, where they're the winners out of this thing, and the small business guys are kind of hidden in the noise. But that's what I see. I don't. It's rare that I come and see these small businesses bring up on these type of situations.
Fair. Well, what we do know is a lot of money this year has gone to travel, right? And that's the clear winner in everything. You're in Europe. I just came back from Europe. I think, Samir, you got a big trip planned too, right? So really interesting segue into a ad campaign for Nikon. So have you guys messed with Photoshop, generative AI?
Yeah, Firefly. I use it all the time.
Yeah.
What's Firefly? Yeah.
It was nuts for me. I legit, it just blew my mind. And clearly the loser in all of that are photographers and graphic designers. And it's unfortunate because it's getting cheaper and to get images, and it's becoming faster and whatnot. But Nikon took a really interesting approach. So they launched a campaign called "Don't Quit on the Real World." Okay. So you guys all know what Midjourney is. Midjourney is a AI generator. You put in a prompt and it generates an image for you. And so Photoshop has their own version of things you're already working on, and it'll do relative AI based off of what image you already have. Midjourney will do from scratch, and then there's other platforms too. They took, Nikon did this thing where they took Midjourney style AI prompts and they transposed them onto beautiful images from nature, right? And these are images taken by up and coming photographers or well-known photographers using Nikon cameras. And so what the whole campaign tells us is that that the real artist is Mother Nature, and that we should all get out and explore more, right? And not to give up on the real world. I love campaigns like this, by the way, is because it does bring the reality back to everything. the great thing is that while they couldn't necessarily track if that increased Nikon sales, it definitely did bring positive sentiment to more travel. It did kind of get people to realize that, hey, this is still the real world, and we still have to love it for what Mother Nature creates. So reactions were incredible. The company said 99% positive sentiment, 95% brand recognition, inspired hundreds to go outside with their cameras, which is great. But really the main takeaway was don't give up on the real world. So I thought that was a good ad champagne. We got to spray some champagne on that one. I loved every bit of it.
I think I said this before, right, about AI and anything that comes out of AI. I think you got to be able to kind of utilize it to extent and enhance what you're working on. And I think what Nikon does here is a great example of, hey, look, we've done this already. We can do this. There's other beauty out there that we can enhance. And I think we need to focus on those guys and the people that have that talent. I mean, shoot, those photographies out of that campaign came out phenomenal. And those are real people doing some real good stuff that would be really hard for a person like me or you guys that are in this business regularly to say, hey, let's go recreate this stuff, right? So definitely great campaign. Definitely look, if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's phenomenal.
I love bringing the faith back in creativity. I feel like we get caught up in this AI nonsense a little bit, and we're only thinking efficiencies, time saved, money saved, right? Like effort, low effort, easy things. The average human can now do some amazing things. And I still think it's great, but I think there is something really fantastic about holding true to that faith and creativity. And I think Nikon is a symbolic brand into that space, right? It is a brand that unlocks the creativity that you can create. And I think leaning hard into this anti-AI thing, very culturally relevant. Even I was seeing what the kind of stuff that generative AI could do, especially in that Photoshop space. And I was starting to even question any photographs I see in museums from now on. I'm going to constantly question, right? And I think this campaign, this statement brings a little bit of faith back into that art of photography. And art is meant to be soft, right? It's supposed to be emotional. It's supposed to be creative. It is something that you should celebrate. You should appreciate. It's not just about what's most efficient and the average person can do. It is an output of something really amazing. And I love that.
I think you brought up something really interesting. There's going to come a time where we're probably going to go to a concert by a DJ who's completely AI. There's probably going to be an art exhibit that we go to that's completely AI. What I would love to see is how, as a society and as humans, we always favor the stuff created by humans. And whether that's more experience-based exhibits, whether that's, it's just going to push the envelope on what a inhuman experience will be. And, we're seeing it with the Taylor Swift Eras Tour right now. Like that's that's like going to Mecca when you talk to people, right? Like it's really, this amazing experience, and people, get some sort of amnesia leaving it because they're like, wow, there's just every sense, all my senses were overloaded. Because it was just that amazing. So I hope we always put more value on that as a society. And I think Nikon's hoping for that as well.
I love that. In that spirit, I'd love to take us into our brands to watch. This is one of my favorite segments that we get to do. And I'm excited to go first. My selection this week, it kind of gets into some of the sport conversation we had before. I love the GOAT debate. Greatest of all time. That one athlete that you think of when you think of the word GOAT. And every sport has their fair grounds to debate who their favorite or the greatest of all time athlete is in their sports. But if we look at all sports, the GOAT of all GOATs is Joey Chestnut, a 38-year-old competitive eater.
Oh, come on.
Phenom. Come on, you cannot deny his greatness in his sport. And I can argue that it's the greatest sport achievement ever. It's a sport, right? It's a competitive eating. It's a phenom who once again won Nathan's hot dog eating contest last week. He went out there and showed everybody why eating 63 hot dogs in 10 minutes for his 15th title in 16 years. 15 titles in 16 years. And he did it while choking a protester who ran up on stage. And he was slamming down another hot dog as he was doing it. That level of athleticism is off the charts. You can't coach that. Nobody
wasn't trained that hard.
We're living in the glory age of sports, guys. And if we those kinds of things that we can witness with Joey Chestnut. We're lucky to be living in this Chestnut era. And let's be real, this Joey Chestnut brand is not going anywhere. The debate is there when you talk about who is the GOAT of all goats. And at this point, everyone knows his name, his brand, and he deserves to be reigned that GOAT of goats. So that's my brand to watch.
I am not going to call him a GOAT until he publishes his LDL levels, his triglyceride levels, his cholesterol. We got to see all that because that is some extreme stuff that he does. Actually, Samir, you bring up a good point. So I was served on TikTok some of his content. He does this stuff year round. I've always thought of just the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. He goes around the entire world going to different restaurants and doing eating competitions. So many restaurants have the largest burrito or the largest pho or whatever. He does all of that and he kills it every time. He even is like the world record holder of the most Big Macs eaten in one sitting. It was nuts. We literally sat there and watched him eat 75 Big Macs or something nuts.
This guy deserves to be on the Guinness Book of World Records, but calling him a GOAT, I don't know, man. The guy, what's his net worth? The guy can't be worth more than $2 million. Come on, this is
greatest of all time. I'm not saying the highest net worth athlete out there. I'm saying the greatest at his sport. And you see 15 out of 16 titles. I have seen undisputable evidence of being the GOAT of all goats.
Fair.
When hot dog becomes a Olympic sport, we'll talk.
Salim, what do you got?
Dude, I got on the hints of Prime Day. I was thinking about what brands to watch. Cart.com comes to mind. They are if you don't know what Cart.com is, they are a decentralized marketplace, kind of like Shopify meets Amazon. They do the logistics, they do everything. These guys just got evaluated $1 billion 2 weeks ago, raising their Series C, I think. But these guys are really shaking up the market. They are no fear. They are in the markets, owning their brand. And that, I kind of brought up the point earlier about, hey, how much of Amazon is really the small businesses. And I think these guys are really taking those small businesses or scaling businesses and saying, hey, look, we'll give you everything you need to scale. Come to us. We'll help you get there. They're enabling these guys. And I think this is the decentralized marketplace that we needed. And these guys are making a storm out of themselves and giving Amazon a run for their money, giving Shopify a run for their money. I would check out Card.com if you haven't already, guys. That's my brands to watch. Love it.
So I'm going to give you guys mine. No politician this week. This week, I'm talking about a fashion brand. So I'm going to give some precursor information. After COVID, I think all of us went and bought some Jordans. And we all got onto the Hypebeast train, black tee, skinny jeans, Jordans. I love it as a dad because I can finally go out wearing sneakers and a t-shirt. But I was out last week and totally looked out of place. Now it's a whole new look. The look has changed for men. And there's a brand to watch called BODE, BODE. Check out their website. They, I guess it makes sense. I saw some guys wearing some pearl necklaces last week, and this is right in line with that. What's happening now is there's the new trend is a little bit more baggy look, right? And that's great. It looks cool. I don't know if I can pull it off yet. Maybe I'll be thinking differently in a few months, but it is a little bit baggier slacks and whatnot, but it's definitely a dressier look. So what they've done is BODE has taken the concept of taking your grandmother's tablecloth and making shirts out of it. Even on their splash page, on their homepage, you see that they have materials like like pearls and tulle and whatnot. And it is a men's fashion brand. It's pretty cool. It's actually really different and a lot of knit wear and just very, very different than the Hypebeast culture. But I say that BODE's in, Hypebeast is out. That's the new trend to watch for. Are you guys going to be getting stuff from BODE?
Checking it out right now.
Yeah. Gotta check this out. I don't know, man.
I don't see a Prime Week sale though. I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, $500 knit shorts with like floral print on it. I don't know how many times you can wear that, but
fashion
but
moves
it's
forward.
a thing.
It's good.
Yeah, people are buying it. So Look, guys, that's a wrap. This is another episode in the books. So we dissected the duds and studs of the marketing world. This is a crazy jungle we live in, and we love that we get to sit back and talk about these things. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us. We are on all the platforms, so wherever you listen to your podcast, Spotify, wherever, you can find us there. But keep those ideas flowing. Marketers, we love talking about them. And join us next week for another thrilling episode of the Mad Men Pod. Until then, stay fabulous, guys.
Ciao.
See ya.
Men go mad.
It's gone mad.
Mad Men.
You're mad. The man's mad.
Mad Men.
I'm mad.